Hello and welcome to Mr. Manley History Teacher's latest video on the long-term causes of the English Civil War. So we're going to be looking at 5 of the main or most significant causes of the English Civil War, which was fought between Charles I and Parliament. And sometimes they're known as the Royalists or Cavaliers or Parliament and the Roundheads. So we're going to be looking at, as I mentioned already, 5 of the main long-term causes. So causes that have been taking place a while before the English Civil War started. And we can categorise these 5 causes into the following categories. So we can categorise them into political factors. So things to do with who's controlling the country and who has power. We can categorise some into religious factors, so things to do with or factors to do with religion or the church. And we can categorise them into economic factors, so things to do with money or finance. In a moment, we're going to have 5 headings that come up. What I'd like you to do is to think about which categories you'd put each of the factors into. Okay, so will each factor belong to the political category, the religious category, or the economic category? Let's take a look now. Okay, let's talk through the long-term causes of the English Civil War. And we'll start with the cause in the top left of the slide, the changes to the churches. As I said, you want to think about which category you would put each of these causes into. So, Charles had started in the 1630s to make the Church of England services grand and full of ritual and colour, more like those of the Catholic Church. Now, another type of Christianity known as Protestantism, and Protestants didn't like these changes that Charles had started to make. So, another factor that was a cause of the English Civil War was Charles marrying a French Catholic princess named Henrietta Maria. Now, Parliament and quite a few people living in England at the time were concerned that Charles might raise his children as Catholics. In Parliament, a lot of the members of Parliament, or MPs, were Protestant, and in some cases radical Protestants known as Puritans, and they were really concerned that Charles was going to raise his children as Catholic. The next long-term cause that we have is ship money, which came about in 1635. And in order to raise money for his expensive lifestyle, Charles introduced ship money. It was also meant to be introduced for when England was at war with foreign countries. However, Charles was really abusing this tax and raising it for illegitimate reasons, according to Parliament. However, Charles demanded that everyone in the country should pay tax all of the time rather than just when there was a war on. And it wasn't just people along the coast that should be paying this tax. Charles expected everyone, even people who lived inland, to pay this type of tax. So many people saw this as unfair and led to Charles becoming even more unpopular. Another long-term cause was the 11 Years of Tyranny. Now, because of constant arguments with Parliament between 1625 and 1629, Charles locked out and closed Parliament for 11 years from 1629 until 1640. And the king was allowed to do this by law, but again, it made people very angry that Charles wasn't choosing to use his Parliament. The final long-term cause of the English Civil War was the belief in the divine right of kings, which was basically Charles I's belief that his right to rule came directly from God. However, Parliament disagreed with this and thought the king should share his power with Parliament. Let's go through each of the categories that these long-term causes belong to. So changes to the church was a religious factor. Charles marrying a Catholic is predominantly a religious factor as well. Ship money was a financial factor behind the cause of the English Civil War. The 11 Years of Tyranny was a political factor. And finally, the divine right of kings was a political factor, but also you could say it was a religious factor on the basis that Charles claimed that his power came directly from God. Thanks very much for listening to this video. If you liked it, click on the like button and give my page, Mr. Manley History Teacher, a subscribe.